name's Laura Thornley. I work as a statistician for a company called Northern Gas Networks, and Wisdom have asked me to give you a little bit of a talk about who I am, what I am, and then tell you a little bit about Northern Gas Networks and what we do as a company. So first I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Northern Gas Networks. So Northern Gas Networks is one of 8 gas distribution networks in Great Britain. We cover the north of England, and that's all the way from the Lake District over to Scarborough, and then from Barnsley and Doncaster right the way up to Scotland and the Scottish border. Within that, we're transporting energy to about 7 million people, which is about 2.5 million homes and businesses throughout Yorkshire and Cumbria. Northern Gas Networks employs around 1,300 people and about 800 different service providers. And whilst we're doing this, we have to maintain around 37,000 kilometres of pipeline across a diverse region which is mixed with both towns and very rural villages. So what is gas distribution, and how does our gas get from being produced to our homes? So gas is produced offshore, either in the sea or in Europe, and is brought into the UK through the terminals. This gas is then transported up and down the national transmission system, which are very large pipelines which carry high pressure gas up and down the country. The gas then enters the network offtake. This is the point where the gas changes responsibility from being part of National Grid to Northern Gas Networks responsibility. At this point, the pressure enters our system at very high pressure of around 70 bar. The pressure is then reduced to around 38 bar to make it safe for us to distribute the gas across the region. The gas travels through the local transmission system at around 38 bar to the outskirts of our towns and cities. At this point, the gas is then reduced again, using another pressure reduction station. This then reduces the gas to a medium pressure, which allows us to safely transport the gas through our roads around our towns and cities. The final part of our gas system is for a governor to reduce the pressure again to a low pressure network. This then allows the gas to enter your home at around 0.75 millibar, which is what is used to heat your house and to cook your dinner. As you can see, there are several different stages from how the gas is produced to getting to your homes. It's very important, therefore, that we make sure that all the different pipes and equipment used to reduce the pressure are maintained. This way, it ensures that we can keep both our customers safe as well as our colleagues who are working on the network. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an understanding as to how a gas distribution network works and how the gas is distributed around the UK. The second part of what I wanted to talk to you about was a little bit about me and about how I ended up getting where I am today. So when I was your age, I made the decision to go on to Greenhead College to study A-levels, and the A-levels I took were Maths, French and German. And the reason that I took these A-levels was because these were subjects that I really enjoyed and also things that I was good at. And at this point I had no idea what I wanted to do with myself as my career. Finishing college, I then went on to university where I studied mathematics and statistics at degree level at the University of Sheffield. Again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just carried on doing what I was good at and what I was enjoying, and decided that at this stage it didn't matter if I didn't have a clear direction of exactly what I wanted to do with my career. So I graduated University of Sheffield and I still had no idea what I wanted to do with myself for a job. So I decided to take a year out and finished uni and went to go and work in a ski resort. So a little bit different to kind of your standard O-levels, university, go straight into a job. But this allowed me to really start to develop myself as a person, so not only being able to do the academic side of things, but also developing skills like customer service, sales, and getting a bit more of an understanding about what a working life is like. After I'd finished working in a ski resort, I decided to go on and work as a statistician for Northern Gas Networks. I had a few different jobs in the meantime, not necessarily related to maths, but working for Northern Gas Networks was the first career that I had that was using my degree skills. Whilst I've been working at Northern Gas Networks, I have since achieved my graduate statistician status, and I'm currently working towards chartership. And this is something that is funded by my work and is accredited by the Royal Statistical Society. Now, the Royal Statistical Society is a standard of statistical work that you must adhere to, and this is basically giving you opportunities to continue learning whilst you're doing your current job and keeping yourself up to date with all the latest developments. So one of the things that I imagine maybe putting some of you off wanting to do maths any further is the kind of stigma that goes around that maths is really boring and people that study maths are just very serious and have not a lot else about them. So what I also wanted to do was show you some of the other things that I enjoy doing, just to prove that I am not just a normal boring statistician. So some of the things that I like to do in my own time, I have 2 of my own dogs, so I spend a lot of time going out walking with them. I absolutely love to travel. Here we've got a picture of when I travelled to Salzburg, and this is of the Formula 1, and so this is another one of my hobbies, watching the Formula 1 when it's on. I am quite an active member of a korfball team in Leeds, so this allows us to go up and down the country every other weekend, and really helps kind of with the team building and team spirit. And finally, I spend a lot of time in my kitchen baking, and this is again something else that I just really enjoy. And I just wanted to show you that there is actually quite a lot more to most of the good statisticians that I have met than just the standard academic background. And that actually a lot of these skills are things that employers are looking for. They don't necessarily want someone who can only do the academic side of things. They want to see when you're applying for jobs that actually you've got more to you and you're a far more rounded person than someone who can just regurgitate information or analyse data to the nth degree. So the most common question I get asked is, what is a statistician? So a statistician is someone who analyses data, but far more importantly is then able to explain the analysis to absolutely anyone, helping them to understand what their data might be telling them. Now, a lot of the time I often find that people get quite scared or quite nervous when we start talking about maths and statistics, and that makes it really important as a statistician to make sure that you're explaining things really clearly so that the person you're explaining to has got confidence that they understand what the data is telling them and can use this information to make decisions about their business. So the second question that I often get asked is, well, what do you actually do working for a gas company? So as part of my job, there's quite a lot of different questions that I'm trying to answer. And some of these look at things like, how many engineers do we need in an emergency? So this can include things like when we get a gas leak, we have one in Leeds and we have one in Cumbria and we have one in Bradford, and they're all happening at the same time. So how do we know how many people that we're going to need to be able to react to all of these different emergencies and make sure that we're keeping the network safe for everyone? Other things that I look at are when we're looking about metal pipes that are in the road, whether we should think about replacing these with plastic ones, which don't break as much and don't leak as much gas, and whether we should do that now or whether we should do that in a few years' time. So trying to weigh up both the cost decisions but also making sure that we're keeping the network safe. The final bits of analysis that I tend to look at are looking at our customer surveys and our customer complaints. And this is looking at the data to see if we've got any key themes. So whether we have an increase in the number of complaints about the roadworks or the traffic disruption. So making sure that nothing is becoming an issue and helping us to rectify any issues before they become serious. Other areas that use statisticians are things like the medical industry. So we often get statisticians working on clinical trials, so helping to test drugs and making sure that there are no side effects, or making sure that they are actually treating someone with symptoms of whatever disease. You also get statisticians working in sport, so helping to understand betting odds and helping to understand what your odds should be on football matches or horses, for example. So as you can see, there might not be a lot of people that know about statisticians, but there are lots of ways in which you can use statistics. So the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about was just to give you a bit of an idea of the types of things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis as a statistician. So there is quite a range, as you can see, of things that I'm responsible for doing. So this includes things like writing reports, helping to plan different projects, obviously doing analysis and kind of the traditional things that you would expect a statistician or a data analyst to be doing. I also have a lot of things like learning and continuous development to be doing, but also things like meetings and making sure that you're interacting with different people in the business to not only help increase people's awareness of that you're there and that you have services to offer, but also to make sure that they're understanding and making the right decisions for the business with real data backing up those decisions. One of the key responsibilities at the moment is looking at coding. So this is using different pieces of software to help us to understand what the best outcomes might be for our decisions. So as my role as a statistician, being able to code in different languages is really helpful, as I'm required to use a mixture of C#, Python and R. These are all slightly different languages, but being a mathematician and having a background in logical equations really helps when it comes to trying to write code. The final thing that is in my job role, which is probably the most important, is being able to present my findings. So this can be anything from presenting results to my own team, presenting results to our directors, or even doing things like this, where I'm talking to young people about how to use maths in the real world, in the workplace, and hopefully trying to help you to understand what careers might be available to you. So that was everything from me. Hopefully this has helped you to understand what you might want to do with a career in maths and the different applications that you can have within a statistical environment, not only within the utilities, but also within other areas such as medicine, such as sports, and other areas that you might be able to use statistics. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is lthornley@northerngas.co.uk, and this can be anything from how to use maths in the workplace, or even things about my journey as to how I became a statistician. So please feel free to email me if you do have any questions.